walking the serpentine path, following the footsteps of the ancestors, walking the serpentine path, making our way back home. Hey ya, hey, hey ya, ho, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. Hey ya, hey, hey ya, ho. Following the serpentine path. Life. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Serpentine Path podcast. My name is Claire Wowdy Yasid, and I will be your guide on the serpentine path of life. I'm a songkeeper, plant walker, storyteller, word weaver, artesana, visual and performance artist, daughter, granddaughter, sister, lover, student, and friend, among many, many, many other things. I've spent my life traversing through altered states of consciousness and find it fascinating to explore all the ways in which our modern culture has become almost entirely severed from our innate instinctual and intuitive ability to see beyond the veil of so-called reality. In this podcast, I will be sharing my own personal stories and insights regarding all things related to plant medicine, the birth, death, rebirth cycle, ancestral reconnection, intergenerational healing, womb sovereignty and bodily autonomy, dream work, rites of passage and initiations, time travel, shape-shifting, dimension hopping, and the reclamation of our collective earth-based practices, all of which I consider to be portals into altered states of consciousness. I thank you with my deepest respect and humility for taking the time to open your ears, your minds, and your hearts to what it is that I have to share. The telling of one's story is an intimate and vulnerable experience. It is also, in my opinion, one of the most powerful, illuminating, liberating, and healing medicines that a person can offer to the world. Hearing the cadence in a storyteller's voice, their laughter, their tears, their tone, their pauses, their pain, their joy, their curiosity, and their heart's song is something that can only truly be experienced by way of oral storytelling. Thus, in honoring the storytelling lineages of all of our ancestors, I offer my story to you now. In another world, another time, another dream, we're all sitting together in front of a big fire, passing our visions across the flames and receiving the medicine in our hearts. So again, welcome to the serpentine path where the ancestors have called us back to. Let's start at the end and find our way back home together. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Serpentine Path podcast. I'm super excited today because it's the first episode where I have a guest being interviewed. It's something that I want to be able to do a little bit more moving forward now that I'm going to have a more stable internet connection. But in this one, I get to do this interview with the person who's sitting right next to me, which is cool to be able to do it in the same space at the same time. And the person who's here next to me is someone that I've shared quite a bit about on the podcast before. It is the man who has been accompanying me in this, I guess, past 3 years is when we met, a little bit over 3 years ago at this point. He's pretty much the only person who has any idea really what my life has looked like the past 3 years of spending so much time in the jungle, in indigenous territory, in ceremony. And so it's a really, really beautiful opportunity to have him here. So thank you, Vincent, for agreeing to sit down and talk and spend some time together and for sharing.
You're welcome.
So I guess I want to start, maybe it's helpful to give people like a little bit of background information of who you are and particularly like who you were before you found your way to the jungle. So I don't know where you want to start with that, if you want to start way back in your childhood, if you want to start with like who you were in France before you left to travel, like anything that you want to.
Yeah, so I come from France. And well, before traveling, I was studying anthropology. And yeah, I went to travel like first like in sailboat. So I crossed the Atlantic like hitchhiking, and after I was a little bit in Caribbean island during the COVID particularly, and Colombia was the first country to open up the borders. So I arrived in Colombia with two friends, my crew members, and no, I really liked the country, and because of my studies, I already heard about like ayahuasca and yagé, how we talk about it in Colombia. And yeah, I was curious to try the experience, and so I tried a first time like in Medellin, close to Medellin, and it didn't really work. But
What does that mean? It didn't really work.
Well, it was really a lot of. It was with a guy whose name. Well, we are telling the name.
Yeah, we can say.
His name is Juan Jose, and he wasn't like coming from a culture. It's really a culture of Yahé.
Yeah, he was Wiwa.
Was Wiwa
from the Sierra.
exactly.
He was like, yeah, from the north.
And so yeah, like he gave us ayahuasca, but a bunch of other plants with a lot of rituals, with a lot of practice. It was not really my gym, but
Your jam.
Yeah, my gym, but it was kind of cool and fun and strong experience. But the plant, the yagé, don't really work at that time.
It didn't affect you so much.
No, it was like kind of physical.
Like purgative?
Not really even.
No?
No.
Really?
No, because we puked our guts out.
Oh, because you already did like tobacco
yeah,
purgatives and everything, yeah.
Tobacco juice and a lot of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I asked this man where it would be possible to go if I wanted to really find people who are doing that strongly, from their culture. And so yeah, he just sent me the name to go to Taitas Keruin place. And so I went.
Yeah.
And it was, I didn't know nothing about it, but yeah, I just showed up there. And actually it's really fun because when I showed up there, I was with my friend and there were nobody in the farm.
Oh yeah?
Nobody.
Wait, but when did you first go? I thought you went for Abuelo's birthday. Or did you go before? Or when did you go?
Yeah, and it was just before his birthday, and
Oh,
so that was the thing. It's like I went there, and the abuelo were coming like in like 10 days, you know.
he was traveling or something?
Yeah,
He was doing ceremony?
but there were nobody in the farm, so they told me and told us like you can keep the farm, like you can stay here
Oh,
at the farm and just hanging out and like taking care of the farm a little
the
bit.
family was just like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's fine.
yeah. Actually, it was Maria Luisa who called the abuelo. And the abuelo told, okay, let's ask them to wait for us.
Oh,
And so there were really nobody, and we were really alone in this farm.
you and Adrian.
Yep.
Oh,
And yeah, until that point, or in one time, and because it was his birthday,
everyone arrived.
like more than 200 people show up like the
Yeah.
same days, and it was like completely crazy. And I really at that point didn't had any idea who was the abuelo.
Right.
And I understood it quickly a little bit,
Yeah.
part of it.
Because all you had heard about Taita Kerouin up until that point was like from Juan Jose, the first guy that you drank with, who you basically were like, where can I go? And he was like, oh, go to Taita Kerouin. Did you even know like the name Kofan, like the name of
No,
the people? No?
nothing. Strictly nothing. Like, I had no idea. I was like, where it is on a map. He told me like
Right.
the name, Jardines de Sucumbíos. I
And
was
you
like,
just took the
okay.
camioneta.
Yeah, I took a camioneta and I went there.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is that like when I ended up going to the jungle, like I guess 9 months later or 8 months later, you told me, like, I was like, how do I get there? Like, I don't know. I don't really speak much Spanish. Like, what do I do? And you really just said, just say that you're going to Taita Kerouins and everyone will know. And I was like, what? But how would everyone know? He's all the way far away. Like, what? And it was true. Like, I think I was all the way in Makoa, and they were like, where are you going? And I said, like, to drink with Taita Kerouin. And they're like, oh, yeah, here, here, here. And everywhere we went, the second that I said Abuelo's name, everyone knew, like, exactly where to go and what he was about. And so it's like everyone in the region, even people who don't drink yagé at all, even people who aren't indigenous, even people who are totally out of that world, everyone knew Taita Kerouin. But you
Yeah.
didn't know anything about him.
No.
Did you know that he was like the authority of Yagé in Colombia? Or did you know that he was the leader of the Kofan? Like any of that?
No, any of that. I was really like, okay, let's see this abuelo. Like, I knew the signification of abuelo, so I knew
You
it
knew
was
that
an
it
old
meant
guy.
grandfather.
It was an old guy, and Taita for me at this point was like kind of a shaman guy. So I was, yeah, an old shaman guy.
Yeah, he's gonna be old.
Why not?
Did you know how old he was turning for his birthday? How old? This was 108 or 100 and...
Yeah,
He was turning
108.
108.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, what was... I've heard this story, obviously, but I could hear it 1,001 times. What was your first time like drinking with Abuelo and being at his birthday with, like, you know, over 200 people from all over the world? And that was what, like your second or third time drinking Yahe? What was that all
Yeah.
about? How did that go?
And well, it was 2 nights,
Mm-hmm.
and the first night was kind of cool and gentle and like yeah, really a lot of people, a lot of yeah, between like 200 and 300 in all over the Moluccas. But you know, I was kind of far away. Well, I was with the Moluccas with everyone, but I was with my friend, so Adrian, and like it was a cool time. But the ayahuasca didn't really
It
hit
wasn't so
me.
strong.
Wasn't so
Still.
strong for any, and not really for other people too. Like people were kind of calm a little bit. But the second night, something funny happened, and some circumstance in life. But someone saw me like playing guitar,
Mm-hmm.
and we were close. It was like 6 p.m. Like it was just before like beginning the ceremony, and it was a mayor who saw me and you say, you follow me because the abuelo want music.
Yeah. Wait, let me just say one thing. Mayor means like an elder. An elder saw him and invited
Yeah.
him and said, Abuelo wants you to play.
And so I just follow that guy, and I just arrived so in the abuelo's house,
Yeah.
and with his family and other taitas.
Yeah. Lots of tigers, lots of tigres.
Yeah, with the
With your little guitar.
with my little guitar. And it was really fun because at this point I really didn't know but anything about medicine songs.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was existing. I think
Medicine
like
music.
medicine music and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I was really like fucked up. Well, thanks God, Fernando, a good friend now of mine, saw me like just going with my guitar, and he followed me with his guitar. Actually, he was actually really a really good musician player,
Mm-hmm.
and really good while playing good medicine songs.
Yeah. Beautiful musician.
Yeah, he's a beautiful musician. And so he arrived with me, and really they make me sit like just at front at the abuelo, and they just were looking at me and okay, play.
Oh, it's so
And I
stressful,
was
baby.
like, okay, so I begin one or two accords like that,
Yeah.
and Fernando told me, no, like let me
Yeah.
just follow me,
Yeah.
and he began to play and to have like some medicine song, and I was just accompanying him,
Yep.
and it was perfect.
Yep.
And at 7, really soon, they gave us a
Big
first
cup.
cup of yagé, of kuldo, and
Well, you also said that because usually in ceremony they like one person at a time goes up to get a cup, right? But they didn't do that night.
no, they was really giving yagé like.
They gave everyone their own cup, like a little
Yeah.
plastic cup, right?
Yeah, everyone had their own cup.
And what did they say?
No, nothing. We were like with the guitar, and they bring like this
Yeah.
plastic tub to us and drink that, like.
But didn't they like kind of cheers to abuelo?
No, I don't think so.
No, I thought you told me that someone, I don't know which mayor it was, which taita it was, but someone said something along the lines of like, "Buena vida, larga vida, taita queruin," or was that the second cup?
I don't remember actually.
Oh, okay.
I'm afraid to say something not true. I don't.
Okay, well, you told me that at one point.
Okay. Well, so yeah,
You took your cup.
So yeah, I took that cup, and that was cool, and we were following playing, and so it was really early, and like
Yeah, that is early.
like 1 hour and a half later, 2 hours later, they passed another cup,
Mm.
and I drank it, and we were following playing, and it was cool. I was like feeling comfortable and everything, and after I just went to like out the house to see where was my other friend Adrian,
Mm-hmm.
with who I was traveling,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't find him, and I felt really the ceremony,
Like picking up.
yeah,
Yeah.
getting really strong, and it was kind of zombie island. People were kind of begin to puke everywhere, like to scream, to laugh, to cry, like.
Really strong.
Yeah, you were listening like 6 harmonica at the same time,
Yeah.
coming from.
All the different malocas.
Yeah, it was really. And I passed to a maloka. There were a big fire,
Mm.
and there were like a group of people. I'm asking the question. Maybe it was a Mingaruna actually.
Yeah, probably. From Pasto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were like playing.
Yeah.
And I had one first feeling, okay, that's going to begin strong. Like
Yeah.
I had kind of an aspiration, like, and I was like,
You felt the medicine like building.
yeah. Really strong, and I was, oh my god, and I run. I don't run, but I walk fast right to the house of Abuelo, and I sit back on my seat just at the front of him, and I just like, yeah, sit there and waiting for
The chuma.
yeah,
Yeah,
waiting for
the altered
choc.
state of consciousness to hit.
And yeah, and it was my first pinta. So like 2 minutes after that, like there were Taitas were chanting and all that, and I just had my first
Strong
experience. Yeah, and it's still one of the strongest experience I had, I think.
Even after all these times drinking. Let me just say, I use the word pinta a lot, like on the podcast, but pinta is like, it technically means like to paint or painting, and that's what the taitas will say, like buena pinta, have good paintings, and so it's like the visions. So it was like the first time that you felt with yagé, like the first time that you got really really strong visions.
Yeah, and your first time you have just a taste of what is it.
Yeah,
really,
like what ayahuasca
yagé
actually is, what
Yeah.
yagé actually is.
Yeah, because before that you can't really, even you drink, if you don't like get a
Strong pinta.
yeah strong
don't know what it
visions,
is.
you don't really. But when you are in it, you know it.
Yeah, you're like,
You
oh
are in
shit.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was really a crazy night. I'm not really going to
Share too much, yeah.
share too much about that, but it was really wonderful, and I really came out of it with a lot of peace, a lot of joy, a lot of questions.
Mm.
But yeah, it was really an important moment of my life, I think.
Yeah.
And it's really why after I came back and finally like ended up like
Living there for so long, yeah.
That for so long.
Well, one of my favorite stories that you talk about from the birthday was one of Abuelo's sons, who's also a taita, who's also a shaman, was like in the house, in the corner, with the waira, like with the leaf fan that they use for cleansing, and his harmonica, but like dancing like crazy and like chanting really, really hard. And you were just watching, like, oh my God, and like really strong on medicine, seeing all of this happen. And
yeah, it was. No, it was what was really strong that night. It was like the intensity of the plant were really strong.
Yeah.
Particularly, I think, in the house.
Yeah.
And there were curation with people who were really bad.
Mm.
So we are really uncontrollable, like screaming, pooping themselves, like in the house, like really strong.
In Abuelo's house.
Yeah, and like really people like making kind of
like holding them down.
Yeah, holding them down, like with big ortiga. So a lot of Maya chanting, cleansing the space. At the same time, it was like Fernando and other musicians like really playing so strong. And you know, I was in a state, so I was in the pinta, like with visions, even closed eyes and open eyes. It was the same things.
When your visions were the same when your eyes were closed and your eyes were open, like everything was, it didn't change no matter what.
Yeah, and so it was. I was really like seeing all of that, and it was completely unbelievable. I really was like, who are these fucking people? Like, how it's
who
possible?
The
like because I really remember to have like at some point to really look the abuelo and this old guy, 108, smoking like a big tobacco and just laughing so hard with his crown of feather and all that, all the colors, and he was laughing, and me, I was, so with the vision, I was seeing like things and color like getting out of his mouth and like taking forms, and just it was people screaming and crying like on the floor, like during the cleansing, like completely in hell, and him completely laughing. And all the ceremony, everyone working so hard for a common experience, a common moment, and I really just understood, like I was putting my feet in something I really didn't expect it, or like understood what it actually means, like to drink yagé, to make a ceremony, to do something. And I went basically to nothing from one of the strongest ceremony I ever had. So it was really a big step.
Big initiation.
And I was laughing, crying. Well, I was really...
Well,
a really beautiful time.
It's funny too because like at Abuelo's birthday, you were also in his house, which like the closer that you are like in proximity to Abuelo in ceremony, the stronger the medicine is, because like when you sit next to Abuelo on yagé, like I don't know, any of the experiences that I had, if I would go into the house and be nearby him, I don't know how to explain it, but you feel the effect of the plant like 1,000 times stronger. And so also the fact that you were in the house like during all of that, seeing probably like 20 taitas, 20 elders, like all of the family all around, like you were really deep in it too. It's not like you went to the birthday and you were in one of the farther malokas, like you were right in the heat of it, you know.
No, yeah, for sure. I was really where people were chanting, cleansing, working really hard, and so that was really, really strong.
Yeah.
After, like, to pretty much every ceremony after I was with Abuelo and really close to him.
Yeah.
And after in my own practice, I don't really felt that change of the medicine is stronger, more I'm close to him, more it's stronger. I don't really felt that. I think it's something like people are creating more than anything. But like for me, and at this point I didn't know anything of that, so I was like I'm sure like the yagé would be really
strong no matter what.
Yeah, really be strong. But it was I think like all the intensity of the place and people, what they were doing, all the context was completely crazy to be really invited like at the heart of the ceremony.
Yep.
And it was completely unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like I really was like in my pinta, I really wasn't able to believe that, to still like taking conscience of what were happening, because it was completely too much.
Well, it's it's an entirely different culture. It's an entirely different world. You're in the jungle, like you're on medicine. I mean, there's nothing to compare it to.
No, there's really nothing to compare. And you know, I was quite accustomed to like sometimes take mushrooms, sometimes take LSD, stuff like that. But when you have a really strong pinta of yagé, it's really another level.
Yeah. Well, it's also really in a ceremony that's being driven by like the taita of taitas, right? Like the authority of this medicine, someone who's been drinking this medicine for over 100 years, like it's a different world for sure. Okay, so after that, you left and you like traveled a little bit, and then we met in Sibundoy. We were drinking with like a different taita, and then you ended up back in the jungle like a few months later with the abuelo, and that's when you ended up really staying, and you didn't plan to stay. You were just kind of passing through. Yeah,
it was kind of a step in my journey for traveling.
Yeah, you were on your way to Ecuador to meet your friends.
To go to Amazon.
Yeah.
And to like, and I wanted to meet my friends from the boat in Brazil.
Yeah.
But at the same time, kind of like, they told me finally they're going to travel in different way.
Yeah.
At the same time, I met Noah, the neighbor, who told me like he have a little cabin, or he wanted someone to like finish to build it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like because I was working on the house of Abuelo, like just for helping, the Abuelo like begin to like know me, asking me question, remembering my name, and he told me like I was really welcome and it would be cool if I stay and learn here. So it was really, and all of that three things happened like the same week, the week I wanted to leave.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going maybe I was with my backpack. Let's try just 1 month. At the beginning I was really like, I don't know, not really trusting, and really little by little, because I knew, I don't knew where I was putting my feet a little bit. But yeah, 1 month, after 2, after 3. After...
Well, you were also a traveler at that point. Like, you had been traveling for a few years up until that point, and I think being a traveler myself, like, it's a strange thing to like commit to something long term, to commit to staying somewhere long term. It's always kind of like, oh yeah, I'll stay here for a few weeks or like a month, see how things go, and like, yeah,
Yeah.
that kind of energy.
And there is also something, or you're never, you're everywhere. Well, I had really that feeling when I was traveling, like everywhere you're welcome, but also there is really nowhere, or you feel completely useful, included, completely in your own place.
Yeah.
So it's like it's beautiful everywhere, but at some point you want to change also by that. And I was really surprised in the jungle because actually, like, I really felt kind of
at home.
Yeah, really at home, really welcoming, really having a purpose and a utility. I was really useful there.
Yep.
I was really learning a lot.
Yeah.
So it was like the perfect place just to be, and I really had no reason or no other place I wanted to go.
Yeah.
Like I was really in the situation for a long time, like for all the time pretty much. I was like in the jungle, like I was really like if there were anyone else I could go.
Mm-hmm.
I can choose anywhere in the world. I would stay here. Like really,
be in the jungle.
There is really not other place I want to be.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I felt the same. I still feel similarly but different, but I know what you mean because that was my same story too. But yeah, you were there for like 5 months before I got there, and I didn't know that you were there. We had lost contact because you didn't have a phone during that time, so I didn't know where you were, but you were there alone for 5 months. So what was that like, being really alone in a context of like your Spanish wasn't super strong at that point in time. It's really good now, but at that point you didn't speak super strong Spanish. You were in an indigenous village. You were drinking a lot of yagé. I mean, with abuelo, usually at least twice a week, often more like 3-4 times every week, and with the abuelo, like being right by his side, accompanying him, being in an indigenous context, which is like very layered and challenging and complex and beautiful and incredible, but just it's so I don't know how to explain the experience of living in Kofan territory, living in the jungle. Like, what was all of that like for you those first few months, being so alone?
Yeah, but as you said, like it's hard to really put words in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think in my life I was quite accustomed to like live in different places and with really different rules.
Yeah.
And I lived like really like in kind of big collective of people. I lived kind of in mountains. I lived
in squats, like
in squats. I live like the boat life. It's really, and the jungle was like kind of another way.
Yeah.
And there is really two parts of it for me. Like, yeah, there is for sure the aspect of like jungle, like, or you're completely surrounded by a lot of life, and you're just a little human in a cabin, like you're the minority, we can say.
Yeah.
It's more the jungle who are looking at you, more you're looking the jungle. Like there is like kind of a feeling like that, and all the things about the yagé. You have really to want to be here and to want to do that work.
Yeah.
Because it's a strong work, it's a strong plant.
Yeah.
When you don't really speak the language, you're alone in that, and so you have to have a strong psychological structure and like and there is all there is all that part, or it's kind of a lot of adaptation and requires a lot of energy and a lot of
willingness.
Yeah. And in the other hand, like there is really something. It's a quiet life, and it's a good life too.
Yeah, very simple.
You wake up the morning, you make your breakfast, a really good fruit from the jungle, and do some eggs, and after you're working a little bit in your cabin, like it's good to keep working, to keep doing stuff like that. You have a focus line, you're not so much in your head and you're just doing stuff. And after you eat lunch, so you go like to the river, taking a bath after your work. You go to have a discussion with like your neighbors or Noah, you come, you drink like a juice with them, and every end of the day I was like going to see Abuelo, and we were all talking with Mambe a lot, or there were a ceremony. And it's really a quiet life or a healthy life, and you have a lot of time for yourself. So there is also something really sweet about the jungle, and there is really also something sweet. Me, I really had a lot of chance, but also the medicine every time I think treat me really well. And I'm saying the medicine is treating me, but what I think really is like I was treating myself really well, and I was someone kind of good in my shoes, good in my. It's a English expression.
I mean, kind of, but you felt good in your skin, maybe.
Yeah, good in my skin. I was like, happy doing my stuff, and kind of really stable. And so when I was drinking medicine, the medicine also like showed me a lot of that. And so I was also a lot of trusting. And going in my own strength, growing, learning how to drive this crazy other states of consciousness. And learning how to sing, learning how to
music.
Spanish, how to talk to people, how to treat myself well.
Also learning the culture, learning kind of like the social norms, how to refer to people, the hierarchy of elders, like how to be respectful in that space that's so different from our modern culture as well.
Yeah, and I was really, when I had nothing to lose, I was there. It was a beautiful opportunity to learn a lot about a lot of things about me. I always liked, kind of spirituality, existential questions. I always like, I don't know, like things like meditation, like trying to work on myself, like trying to. And I just discovered a wonderful place with a wonderful tool, like with what you can do, a work completely incredible, and people were welcoming me. It was quite of ideal situation. Like I was really like, I think I was really graceful, and really happy in my life. And I had also this kind of, like feeling, like child feeling of like adventure, of like wow, that's so cool. I'm in the jungle. I'm a friend of a really crazy shaman. Like I was like, that's a cool life. Actually, I'm really lucky to be able to live that. And I really didn't understand so much why there were not more people around. Actually, because it was really possible. If it was possible to leave that for me, I was like, wow, why there is no more people doing that? But I also understand because it's really a strong place, a strong medicine, and like to have that like a quotidian
daily life,
daily
like
lifestyle, like it's something. But for me, it was the perfect fit. I was really happy.
Well, it is something that you've said a lot, that I've heard you say a lot, and it's a good question
you know, thinking about who the abuelo was and thinking about just his life, his path, not only his work as like a spiritual healer, as a curandero, as a shaman, as a taita, but also all of the unbelievable political work that he did. And the fact that he spent like truly his entire life as a leader of his people, not only of the Kofan people, but of all of the people of like Bajo Putumayo. Like he was driving during really, really intense political moments in the country's history. In the jungle, he was traveling all around the world. I mean, this was like a world renowned leader. And it's like what you just said of like, how are there not more young people who want to learn with him? Like, how are there not more Colombians from Bogota, from Medellin, from Cali? How are there not more Ecuadorians who are like here with this man? And it's also always funny for me to think about like the position that we're in as like total foreigners. Like we both really showed up not even speaking Spanish at all. You know, we're blancos, like we're super white. It's not our culture in any way. Um, and yet, like, we both felt really good being there. We both felt really welcome. We both felt like we had a purpose to be there. We both felt like there was important work to do. And it is curious to me that people like us found our way there, but it's also not a surprise. I remember asking the abuela at one point, like, when did like non-indigenous people, non-Kofan people start showing up here? You know, was it like in the 90s or like the early 2000s? And she was like, no, before. And I was like, when? Like the 80s? And she was like, no, even before that. And I was like, well, when? And she was like, there were people learning with the abuelo all the way back in the 70s. Like he was always welcoming people of other cultures, people of other races, other traditions, other lineages, like into his home. Anybody who wanted to learn, anybody who wanted to hear his stories, anybody who wanted to really heal, they were always welcome, you know? And so part of me is still always like, well, how did we end up there? And then another part of me is always like, well, of course we ended up there. The abuelo welcomed anyone, truly, anybody who really had a desire to learn and to heal and to accompany him.
Yeah, and there is really something, sure, he was like a big taita, a big political chief, and like someone really, well, incredible in a lot of ways. But the reality was really that was also an old guy, really funny,
Really humble.
really like laughing about everything all the time, really happy to talk, kind of talkative sometimes.
Yeah, super talkative. Very curious.
Yeah, really curious. And you know, you just show up in his house and you're like, here, take a seat. No, no, no. He give you some mambe or like he's like, okay, drink a juice or something like that, and you're just here, and you know, it's really like
very casual.
Yeah, really casual. It's like, asking you how you're doing, how was your day. You're like, oh, I'm doing that. You know, he needs some help for putting his little shoes, and you accompany him to pee, like, and from, you know, the third week you arrived, like, not at some point where you really know him, or you have to pass a lot, kind of a test for being able to speak to him, like, from day one, you can go and speak to him, and that's why I was really surprised there is not more people, because he was really an easy contact.
Yeah, he was so open to literally anyone.
Yeah, so
literally
like
anyone.
So that was what really touched me, because at the beginning, I had kind of I don't know, I was kind of a little bit anarchist and stuff bit. Like.
You were not a little bit anarchist.
So about authority, I had like a lot, kind of some issues, and I was like seeing all that people talking about the abuelo, the taitas, the authority of all the Kofan. I was a little bit like, yeah, let's see, you know. So someone with a lot of power, like in general, like there is really few people who handle
power well.
Yeah.
And who have earned that power, like truly earned it from their people.
And so I was like, let's see, and I'm going to show up really naturally, and we're going to see if he if he's taking me like who you are, no. And the fact is really no, not like he was really open, really cool, asking me questions about me, the little guy, like and
the little French guy.
Yeah, little French guy completely lost in that jungle, like who having his fucking
You were young.
crazy.
You were like 26.
Yeah. And he was thanking me for working on his house and like helping working. I go, yeah, you're welcome. I was thanking him to like not make me pay the yagé because I had no money, you know.
Yeah.
And really cool. And we really were friends. And that really touched me because like a lot of people had a lot of deference, like a lot of I don't know how to call that in English.
Like what?
Like my taita, like really
putting themselves putting him on a pedestal.
Yeah, putting him on a lot of distance. And the abuelo was like, okay, all right, you know, and was a little bit playing the game, but not really. But actually, like the abuelo was really like, if you're like, hi abuelo, how are you? What's up? You know, oh, mi amigo, yeah, really cool. And you, what's up? Like, you know, really. And so it was
personable,
easy and simple.
Yeah.
And it's really with time I was able to really meet him and to at the end of the day it was really interesting because I gave him authority.
Yeah.
From my choice.
Yeah.
I was really seeing that man like really coherent with what he was saying, what he was trying to communicate, trying to teach to other people. And what was his behavior, what was...
He was in integrity, fully.
And for me, it was a beautiful gift to be able to spend a lot of time with him. And another, as I said, I was really not trusting like that in one time. And I really like... I was really kind of with precaution a little bit.
Yeah.
And I really didn't wanted like to have a guru or to have someone who show me the path.
My shaman. Yeah.
Yeah. And
you weren't looking for that.
No, and a lot of people are looking for that. And a lot of people around Avolo was looking for that. It was like, oh, you know, he's the yagé, he's the path. And like, but me, I really had I was just grateful to meet someone who was an example of that is possible.
Yeah.
Like building a human coherent with like really good value, even in a really violent context, even in a really like crazy territory with crazy stuff happening.
Yeah.
Like to be really someone who worked for helping humanity around and helping the world to make the world a better place, and to do it every day and with calm, with peace and with clarity.
Yeah.
You know, just the example of that,
that's how he earned your respect.
Yeah, really. Really. After really months and months and months, and after like years with him, and it's really here. Yeah.
Well, it's something I also think about a lot. You know, I too was and still am in many ways like very anti-authoritarian. And I remember when I got to the jungle, you told me that. You were really funny. You were like, you know, I showed up, there's this old guy, everyone's all obsessed with him. Like, I didn't really understand. I was like, you know, yeah, he's old. But then you said, like, but slowly but surely, like, I really understood who he was. And I remember seeing you when I came to the jungle. I remember seeing you, like, putting on his little Crocs and really sitting right beside him and being so attentive and so tuned in. And I saw all of the other men and all of the other women like that, like really, what an example was of a leader who was not a leader because they had like been elected to it or they had run for office or they had gotten enough votes, but really a leader who like had spent quite literally his entire life in service of justice, in service of love, in service of basic respect, in service of humanity, in service of health, and not just for his family, not just for his pueblo, his village, not just for his people, his nation, but truly for like all of humanity, you know, and someone who did it every single day. Like he didn't ever get a day off, you know? And also someone who drove it with like true diplomacy, someone who drove it with like true understanding, true compassion, deep forgiveness, love at the core of everything, you know? And I really understood very quickly like why you had shifted so drastically, because when we met, like, yeah, you were strong anarchist, as was I, you know, but you even more so. And to see you really like on your knees in front of this old man, like putting his shoes on, like I was like, whoa, like different person. But there was a reason for that, you know. And it's also something I think about a lot, of like the shift that I experienced, that I witnessed you in, like the first time we met, and then 5 months later when I came to the jungle and I saw you really, I don't even know how to explain it, like your whole demeanor had changed. You had really become like so much more mature. I feel like when we met, you had been like a young guy, and when I saw you again, like I could really see the man that you were shaping yourself into. And I feel like a big influence of that was by spending so much time with a male elder who really showed you an example of masculinity, of healthy masculinity, and what that could look like. Do you want to talk about that at all? You also don't have to.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking because it's also really your vision, you know. Like the fact I was a young boy when we first met.
I didn't say boy. I said young guy.
Yeah, or young guy in 1 week. You know, we met 1 week, we were drinking with that guy, and we know each other like not pretty well. I wasn't able to speak English actually. You
When we
weren't,
first met.
and you weren't able
Really
to speak Spanish, so
or
like
French. Yeah.
it's kind of, you had a vision of me at that point, and after we met on the jungle, and you had another vision
Mm-hmm.
because we were living like 2 months together. So I think it's really about your vision. I think what was really different, it's not really in terms of maturity for me, it's really in terms of like work and of terms of conscience.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't really more mature with a lot of life experience, but I was working.
Yeah.
And so I had like kind of a purpose more clear. I was really strong of what I want, why I'm doing that. It was here, my life was here, and in that way, and it was a perfect fit.
Yeah.
I was really good of where I was and with what I was doing.
Yeah.
And so I think it was like kind of more like it was kind of impressive, and even for you, you know, you were, well, the fact is you had a crush on me, and you really saw me, you really came and saw me in that jungle, in that alone cabin, working like kind of a little bit crazy, working like with yagé.
Really disciplined.
And with abuelo, and I think you had like a wow, that's a beautiful man, and I think that's
but what I'm talking about more, because I also felt it in myself, was the shift that kind of occurs when you are, one, in the jungle, when you're alone and like very isolated, when you're drinking that much yagé, when you're surrounded by indigenous people as an outsider. You kind of go through this phase where there's like I don't know, it's kind of like a chipping away at all of your weak spots, and you become, how to even explain it, like
I think you really can explain it by like you take conscience of what is important.
Yeah. You
And there
start
is
shedding
really not so
few
much
things that are important. Yeah.
like and really all the rest just disappear because
Yeah.
like you have so much experience, or you're like close to die, or you're actually dying, or like there is so much like things, emotion, things to get through, then at some point you're really like completely empty
Yeah.
of all that.
Yeah.
And you're just focusing on what
What's
I'm doing,
important.
what's
Yeah.
important.
What's the work?
And day by day you take stuff, and yeah, you really don't tell yourself a lot of story. You
Yeah.
really don't tell yourself a lot of. You don't have a lot of preoccupation. You don't have a lot of, yeah, like.
You get quieter.
Yeah, I think really like to create story. It's a really good. It's a really good way to say that you don't create so much story because you're already living a lot of things.
Yeah, it's already intense enough.
So you're kind of really simple.
Mhm.
And yeah, when someone arrives with all their life and oh, I think that about that, I think that about that, that is important, that is important, that is important. And after a few ceremony,
Yeah, the
normally
yagé strips
like
away the bullshit.
yeah, a little bit you're more quiet. You're like okay,
Yeah.
just
Well, and I think that that's what I meant when I said that I saw a big difference in you, was that I saw like the shedding of a lot of layers of like, yeah, I don't know how to explain it. I saw you kind of being, I felt like I saw the yagé like really molding you and shaping you and stripping away all that wasn't important and leaving you with like a really kind of pure disciplined essence of the work ethic that you had, you know. But I have other questions that I want to ask you about. So I want to ask you now, I mean, this is all kind of about like that first chapter that you had in the jungle. I want to ask you a little bit more now about the last chapter that we had there, which was during Abuelo's dying period, you know, and those months and the process after the fact and all of that part of our time with him. What do you want to share about that?
Do you have some question more precise?
Yeah, I mean, I guess what was it like to be watching the abuelo die in front of you during those last few months?
I don't know. For me, I think it was the right things to do. I felt really happy is not the word, but kind of at peace when I arrived, because I really wanted to be here for that time. Yeah, I really felt like it was an important things to do and to. So I didn't ask myself questions about what I'm doing, how I'm doing. I was just trying to do the best I can here, and I had no doubt about what I was doing or the utility of that. And after, I don't know. I think yeah. Sometime I was kind of. You felt some emotion when you saw someone you really love, like suffering like that.
Yeah.
Being really disappointed with a lot of things about the community, about how things are going. You know, it was really like not easy also as a work, because we don't had a lot of support. We didn't had a lot of materials. It was really hot a lot of time, like we were without energy, like
yeah, power was going out, there was no fan to keep him
yeah,
cool,
like that. It was like
the reality of jungle life was hard.
Yeah, it was really hard, and he wasn't able to move, and so a lot of things, a lot of yeah, I don't know, a lot of cleaning, a lot of body contact also.
Yeah.
And And yeah, and sometimes really to see him suffering, to see him not sleeping, to see him like him trying to be well with people, even it's hard for him. Like
Yeah.
that was kind of sometimes really sad for me. But really, I think deeply I was at peace all the time.
Yeah.
I was just doing what I have to do, and Awolo was the person I knew, which is the most. How do you say that? The most accustomed, the more close with suffering than I ever met.
And anyone in the world.
And I was looking at that guy suffering, and I was, he had so much a crazy life.
Yeah.
His life had so much purpose.
Yeah.
I even he was suffering as fuck. I was just happy for him, just for him to exist, and for him to. I was trying to do my best for just releasing a little bit help to like making that moment more sweeter for him.
Yeah.
But like, I was just proud of humanity when I was looking at that guy. I was like, fuck, that possible. And I was touched, I was happy, I was really like, you recently you told me that story, one day I was like, after a ceremony or the abuelo poop himself,
Yeah.
I was really cleaning that underwear.
You're cleaning his poopy underwear.
And you
were still the yagé was still really strong.
Yeah,
you were still really strong in Achuma at like 6 in the morning.
Yeah, 6 in the morning. You didn't eat anything. You're like with
puking all night.
Yeah, like with strong yagé singing, like working all day, working all night, didn't sleep, and the morning you're fucking cleaning poop like on a, and I was feeling but happy.
I remember I came to you. I asked you. I was like, "What are you doing?" And then I realized, oh, you're cleaning the abuelo's underwear. And you looked at me and you said something along the lines of like, "It is such an honor to be doing this right now." But you really said it like the most serious, the most sincere, the most honest. Like,
yeah,
it is the most beautiful privilege to be doing this, to be of service to my teacher.
Yeah, and there were really, there were really no questions. I had a great time.
Yeah.
I had a beautiful time. And it always went that way, in that place with him. Yeah, things are hard, sometimes it's life. And yeah, people are suffering, people are dying, but I was really, really at peace and feeling really at my place.
Yeah, of service.
And I'm really grateful to all of that.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, I guess I have 2 more questions that I want to ask. The first is kind of like, after all this time, so many ceremonies, being by Abuelo's side, seeing how he drives the yagé, your own experiences with it. What are your perspectives about the plant now? And how do you see it as a tool for healing and for awakening consciousness and for growth and for change? Like, what is your perspective now that we're kind of on our own in this game without the abuelo's guidance? Like, how have things changed? What things have stayed the same in your relationship with the yagé?
Well, for me there is different things. There is like, first, like the yagé is a really, really powerful and beautiful tool.
Yeah.
It's a plant, it's a substance, and like it's really like scientifically, like biologically, you study a brain with yagé, with like a peak of serotonin, and there is really hyperactivity. There is really like zone and different places who are communicating normally they are not communicating.
Yep.
And you're really living other consciousness, and you're really playing with another brain than normally, with another capacity. So that's a base, like that's the first point. It's like you're really, like the plant, it's an opportunity for you to play with another human, to play with yourself, but in other ways or normally you are playing.
Yeah.
With different limit and with different capacity.
Yeah.
So that's really something, or like before, like all the spiritual work, awakeness, conscience, the first thing is that
just the biological level of how it transforms the brain and
your perception,
yeah,
your sensation,
your sensitivity, your neural pathways, what it can activate and awaken just in your brain, at the biological level.
So like that's really something. So like the yagé is like that. There is here a culture based on that plant.
Yep.
They discover
multiple cultures.
Multiple
we're
culture.
Talking specifically about the Kofan.
We're talking about the Kofan. There is a culture who just discovered that at some point in their life. And so like they discover the power of it, because actually when you drive it well, you really you have access to a lot of different things. But they really learn how to drive it, and they really live with that. And that's really cool, and that's beautiful, and that's Kofan people. There is some people who are using that, I think, in a wrong way, and so, like in a bad way, and some
abusive
people
power, as always.
Abusive power, war, or just telling themselves story who are really not useful, creating like kind of stuff, or really in their life it's not going to help. Like it's like everything, it's like every tool, like it's just depend.
Well, it can be used for creation or destruction, like any tool.
Or creation of bad things. And sometimes destruction is a good thing, like you have to destroy like some stuff.
Some bad shit,
It's just what you are doing with that. It's not like that. It's something really strong and, in my sense, really beautiful. But the use of it, it's really important. And the Kofan have a way to use it. And like have a tradition, have a culture, and all that.
Can I say one thing really quick?
Yeah.
Kind of what you were saying, the way I think about it a lot is like the plant itself is neutral because nature is neutral. It doesn't have these kind of human ideas of like what is good and what is bad, ethical judgments. And so it really depends on how you as the individual decide to show up and work with it and utilize it as a tool, the relationship that you build with it. Like you said, the stories that you tell, the realities that you create, the illusions that you believe in, or like the ability to really work with it in a way that is going to create beautiful things in this world, powerful things, important things, healing things. Like it's the plant itself is fully neutral, and it's dependent on the individual
completely.
and the community who's working with it.
And so for me, like abuelo is just an example of someone who use it well.
There's plenty of examples of people who don't.
And there is plenty
more examples of people who don't use it well.
But that's really what is happening. It's like there is a human being, Mr. Taita Keruin, who was like basically a child, and after a teenager, and after an adult, and at some point in his way, like he was in a culture with drinking a lot of yagé, he drank a lot of yagé, and he used it well. Like he understood a lot of things. At the beginning, I'm not sure he was like doing cool things with that, like a lot of like people, and more than more, like he really learned how to drive well, and he became with that like a beautiful leader, like a beautiful medicine traditional like elder, and that's really beautiful. And so like all the question about the yagé, it's more like why you drink yagé, what you are doing with that, what is your purpose, how you're handling it, like And in the abuelo's place, when you're living there, so yeah, like there is a lot of people coming, and a lot of people like coming for 1 week, for 1 month, for 2 days. It's depend.
A ceremony.
Yeah, and like they come, they drink and they left, and like you can see, like which person are doing what with their ceremony, what are the meaning they put in that, what are the stories they are creating about themselves, about the plant, about other people, about the coffin,
the jungle, the spirits.
Yeah, how they handle like a strong medicine plant, like a strong
super purgative, psychedelic, like a hallucinogenic plant.
Yeah, and that's really like there is people. It's like the awakeness of their life.
Yeah.
And there is some people they're going to come back more fucked up than when they arrived.
Yeah, it's not the path for everyone. It's not. I wouldn't recommend it to every single person that it's going to fix all their problems, that it's going to heal them in one night.
That's never going to fix a problem. That's going to show you a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like really, the yagé is beautiful for taking conscience of a lot of things.
Taking consciousness
because like
of it.
really, it's like really it's biologically like you're really drinking something, like your brain going to really communicate in a lot of things in a lot of different ways than normally. So you're going to take conscience of a lot of things about how you work, how you function,
who you are,
like basically who you are, what you are creating. So the yagé is helping for that, and you're going after to come down, like after a few hours, like okay, that's the night.
You're gonna come back to the world.
You're going to come back,
Earth.
and nothing, but still nothing is fixed.
Nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed.
Yeah.
Like, but the only thing is you're more conscious about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so now, what you're gonna do with that?
Right, and that's the integration of it. That's what everyone always talks about. Integrate.
Yeah.
That's any experience. That's not just with yagé, but I think yagé in particular is like, it's easy, I think, especially in this kind of like time of saying that, like what they call the so-called psychedelic renaissance, that like the plants are going to heal us, which is like, I mean, there are some plants that do actually very deeply change your health, change your cells, all of that kind of stuff. And yagé at a specific physical level, yes, it can heal many things. But when we're talking about like deep psychological, deep trauma, mental things, like the plant, it's exactly what you said. It's going to show you who you are. It's going to show you what your patterns are. It's going to show you your big fears. It's going to show you things that you feel ashamed of, things that you feel like you really fucked up with, things that you want to receive forgiveness for, things that you want to take responsibility for. But it's just going to show you. It's not going to do any of the work for you.
And sometimes it's not going to show you that.
Sometimes it just shows you more illusions.
And sometimes you're going to create with your own imagination like a completely past
even
things,
more crazy
and
shit.
like, or even more sickness, or even
more
like
delusion, more illness.
And that's also a big business of a lot of things. Or saying, oh, you're sick, oh, you're not aligned, oh, you're not, you're not.
You need another cup, you need another ceremony, another healing, another. Pay
cleansing.
more money.
Yeah, another cleansing, another stuff. And guess what? Like, when you're actually better.
When are you going to be healed? What do you have to do to
heal? Healed of what? Of what? Like you're a human being, you're eating, you're pooping, everything is alright, you have 2 hands, you have 2 feet. Well, hopefully for you, like, I don't know, but it's working. You're healed. Woo! Good news.
You're always healed. You're already healed.
If you want to use yagé, use it, but like for a purpose.
Yeah.
Like because you think you're growing in that way, because you think it's useful in that way.
Yeah.
But
well, I think... Sorry, go ahead.
No,
but I think that kind of leads me to the last question that I wanted to ask you, because you would always ask Abuelo like beautiful and interesting and funny questions, but like one question that you asked him one time that I really loved, that I feel like is a good way to close, which is you asked Abuelo like, ¿Qué significa curandero? Or like, what is a curandero? What does it mean to be a curandero?
Yeah.
And what did Abuelo say to you? What does it mean to heal someone? What does it mean to be a healer, to call yourself a curandero, a taita, a shaman, curaca? Like, what does that mean?
And it was fun because he gave me different answer for that.
He always gave different answers for everything.
For every question. That was
which
interesting.
Is just like yagé.
Yeah, it's interesting like to ask the same question as the abuelo sometimes because he give you
different answer.
But one he was really serious and who really touched me. It was like explaining to me like a curandero. It's just a guardian. A guardian. A guardian of his light, basically.
And truth.
And yeah.
Right? Isn't that what he said?
Truth. Yeah.
El curandero es guardián de la luz y la verdad. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was really like, and after he told me, you know, like why in a ceremony there is everyone who freaked out, who like are completely crazy as fuck and all of that, and why is a curandero don't move, he's at peace.
Yeah.
And he really told me. So he asked me the question. I was like, I don't know, because no, and he was but because he suffered so much. He already cry, he already poop, he already
screamed and puked and died
thousand times. So like now we know there is something about his truth, who he truly is. He took conscience about a lot of things.
Yeah.
And so now what can be a threat? What can be a danger? What can be when you're at the point or you completely accept to die and you're really not afraid about anything.
Yeah.
Because like you're already done all of that.
Yeah.
And so, for me, like really the guardian of the truth is just someone who don't believe in the story or we are making to ourselves. And it was a beautiful way because when I was seeing him, he was really that. He was really like, people like completely, I'm gonna die, abuelo, yeah, me too, no problem, I'm really laughing and really, that's okay.
Yeah.
In any situation, that was okay, and that was always okay, and that's always gonna be okay. There is something here really, and when someone knows that, but know it so deeply, then if he take 3 cups, he going to still know it.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to know it like that, but when you take your cup
and you're with the yagé and it's fucking hard and you just truly feel like you're gonna fucking die.
Yeah, it's really another thing. So like to pass that point, to be able to drink whatever cup and to feel at peace with it, because that's a curandero. That's someone who just know what it is, actually.
Well, I think too it's important to note, like, it's not this kind of like spiritual light washing or spiritual bypassing, because the abuelo, I mean, he was living in the jungle where there were people constantly coming to his house with guns. People killed his family. People were threatening him constantly. He talked about being in ceremonies and helicopters dropping bombs around his maloca. Like, this man knew true, serious suffering. And yet...
he was in jail.
He was he was a prisoner of war for 3 years in Ecuador. Like, this is a man who has suffered more than probably anyone that I have ever known in my entire life, and still was able to walk as that guardian of love, as that guardian of light, as that guardian of truth.
But that's why he was able to do that.
Exactly. That's why he was able to do it. Because he said to me, like, he luchado y he sufrido, y por eso soy el último curaca de la selva, which means I have fought and I have suffered, and that is why I am the last true shaman of the jungle. Because I have fucking suffered, and it's what you just said, like, going through that constant doorway of death, and holding on to that light and that truth.
Yeah. and you hold on that light in this kind of moments. After
Nothing can touch you.
yeah, after
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
so yeah, I really think there is something precious here.
Yeah. All right. Should we wrap up? Should we leave it there? Do you have anything else you want to share about? Do you have any like final thoughts about your time, or final things you want to share about what you've learned, or what feels like the most important thing that you're taking with you? Or you also can say no. We've talked a lot.
Yeah, no, but it's like, I would say there is a lot of phantasm and there is a lot of stories around yagé, around ayahuasca, around shamans, around
Indigenous culture, the jungle,
like
the
there is a
Amazon.
lot of things. But I really think what Abuelo also showed me, like it's really there is not really other things important than taking care of ourselves, of our people, our world,
Yeah.
our family, our friends.
Our community, our territory, the land, the water.
Yeah, it's really something really simple at the end of the day. Like really, all of that is about what we want to create.
Yeah.
As an experience and as a life.
Yeah.
We have a certain amount of time here and what we choose to live here. And I don't know, if drinking yagé it's helping you, drink yagé. I have so much love for that plant. Like for me it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful gift in my life. So I'm really grateful for all of that.
And if it's not helping you, don't drink it.
Yeah, and if it's not helping you, don't drink it. And find other ways, other things, like do yoga, do meditation. I don't know, do cooking.
Yeah.
Like do
Go for a
whatever
run.
you do. Yeah, whatever. And just
hang out with your family.
Yeah.
Hang out with your friends. Smoke some weed. Who knows?
Yeah, like really just something easy and something sweet. It's really what we all are looking for at the end of the day, I think.
Yeah. Cool. I think that's a beautiful place to end. Thank you for sharing everything. I really appreciate it. And I think that a lot of people will appreciate a lot that you shared. So thank you.
Thank you to you.
I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Mm-hmm.